Okay, I started the recording. So, so we had installed, this machine, and this is basically the Linux on Windows. Give me 1 second. Let me just share one video. Okay, I will forward after the class. So basically, you just need to know that how to on the virtualization on your laptop. So it's just like you need to press some combination just to go into the boot section BIOS setting, and there you need to find one option where it is saying that it's like something related to virtual, either virtualization or virtual technology. Okay, if you don't do that, you will not be able to install VirtualBox will be installed, but on the VirtualBox you cannot create any image of Linux. Okay, so I will forward that. Actually, I don't find it right now, so I will search and will share. So once we have seen few basics about Linux in the last class. Basically how to create directory, create file, and remove the file, remove directory, and few more things. So we'll continue with that, and we will try to install one image of Hadoop. We will try to install it today, and though it would be like only single node, I will just try to show that how it is possible to create our own web server. I mean, it's already there in the Linux, how to host the things on that web server, and then how we will refer that web server to install the things on the Linux. But before that, we need to learn few more things, so that we will be comfortable of how to install anything on Linux, and how to do the configuration, what are all the different things, how to see the processes, how to see which ports, which job IDs, or which processes are running. So there are a few things. So this is my IP address of this machine. Basically, if you just open this and you try to grab, and we already have set two adapters for this, basically ETH0 and ETH1. So this would be CentOS 6.8, the version of the operating system that comes under the Red Hat distribution, and we have set up two different Ethernet cards, ETH0 for host only and ETH1 for NAT. Okay, we have gone through all the basics of like what is host only, what is NAT, okay, which DHCP server will assign IP address to which adapter. Okay, so basically, just for recap, like host only is basically just the communication between Windows and this Linux. Okay, through host only it cannot access internet, or it is like only the interaction with the host. So host in our case is Windows, and the guest is Linux, so it is just between the guest and host. That is what is called host only. Another one is NAT, that will get the IP address from the VirtualBox DHCP server, and it will allow you to access the internet through NAT. Okay, and the third one was bridge adapter that we did not use because in the bridge adapter basically there would always be a possibility of getting the new IP address when you restart the machine. So to get the static IP address on our machine we are using host only, and to get the internet access we are using NAT. So VirtualBox will provide you the facility of assigning at least 4 virtual adapters to one or all to your machine. So if you go to settings basically, and if you go to network, there are adapter 1, adapter 2, adapter 3 and adapter 4. So all this adapter can be set to different ways. So basically adapter 1 is set to host only, so this is for assigning a static IP address to your machine. Adapter 2 is set to NAT, it will allow your machine to access the internet. Then adapter 3 could be like bridge, and adapter 4 could be like a few more. So this is the list of adapters. So we have discussed NAT, host only, and bridge adapter. So NAT network, internal network, and generic driver, these are like something that just you try and get some more knowledge on this, but these are like more NAT is you will use in order to create your own private network. Okay, and bridge is basically when you say when you actually really install the physical hardware to create the Hadoop cluster, you will get a physical switch. Switch is just like it will have several output ports, and each port is assigned to one IP address. So basically, let's say if you are making 10 node or 20 node or 100 node of cluster, you need to get individual IP for all those 100 machines out of that switch or router. So that is all connected to physical network. Okay, though that complete physical network will be owned by your company, or it's like in the kind of VPN or private network of your own. Okay, and you will have one gateway that will allow the internet access to all those 100 machines. Okay, so we have seen that like currently when I talk about my Wi-Fi, so left side on my Wi-Fi I will be having a private network, and right side of my Wi-Fi will be the public network, right? So we will get the IP address or internet on our Wi-Fi input that will be distributed to our private network. Okay, so any machines in your private network will still be able to access the internet. So that is how actually the bridge adapter is working. So by default the connection will be bridge only whenever you connect multiple devices to your Wi-Fi router. Okay, and your Wi-Fi router would be a gateway for all those machines, so that whenever they want to access any information over the internet, they need to first connect to gateway, and then through gateway they will further tunnel into the public network in order to get the access of internet. Okay, so that is some general fundamental behind the networking and of it. And okay, so I have started my machine admin. Its name is admin. I will let you know how to we already seen that how to check the machine name. So basically there is a command called hostname that will let you know that what is the name of your machine. So this cluster.com is called domain. Sometimes it is also called canonical name. Okay, a canonical name and basically domain name, they are like kind of similar synonyms to each other. Okay, and this admin is called SQDN, simple qualified domain name, and this is fully qualified domain name. So admin.cluster.com is called FQDN. It means that fully qualified domain name, and only admin will just tell you that. So basically if you do -s will tell you SQDN, simple qualified domain name, and -f will tell you fully qualified domain name. So currently host name not lookup failure, so we will see that later. Okay, so by default it would be only F, so fully qualified domain name. Okay, so this is the name of your machine. Every machine will have name, just like my Windows, it is having some name. So if you go here, right click on computer and say properties, basically it will tell you that this is the machine name. Okay, so this is SQDN and this is full FQDN, win MMI1 say whatever .this.com. Okay, and this is the domain. Similar to this we are having over here. So IP address, ifconfig, this is the command to get the IP address. If you press enter, basically you will get further more information about all the adapters IP addresses that they are currently linked to. So ETH0 is linked to this IP address, and this is a host only IP address. Okay, and ETH1 is connected to an NAT IP address, that is this IP address. Okay, so through this IP address basically it is actually accessing the internet. If you do ping www.google.com, basically it will okay, so we need to restart the service, something called sudo service network restart. So because by default this particular service is not on, we need to make it on every time when the system restarts. So we need to do that thing. Currently I'm just starting this service. This service will actually start all the, it really reinitializes all the network interfaces and it make them start basically. So now if you do ping www, we are able to ping now. We are getting the reply from Google. Okay, so now our internet is working. I will tell you more on this. Okay, so today also like we will discuss more on Linux. So this is my client, just like 5250 emulator. So this is my client. Let's say my laptop is a client and this machine is the server to which I need to connect to. So here I need to put the IP address, and since this is SSH connection, I need to connect to port number 22 because port number 22 is the SSH port where everybody listens. All the SSH traffic will be diverted to port number 22. Okay, so this is like current of default port where SSH service is running. Okay, so it is like well known to the world. So we already have discussed that from port number 1 to port number 1024, that is 1024. These ports are all reserved ports, okay, and they're all mostly assigned to their famous services running like FTP, SMTP, HTTP, SSH. Okay, there are multiple services those work on internet, and every service that works on internet requires a port to listen somewhere on your system so that the traffic will be diverted to that port. Okay, because IP address will be same, right? Let's say if on each machine, basically on each machine there are 10 different services running, those require internet. Okay, and they want to have their own communication channel because one SSH client can only listen some SSH traffic, one FTP client or FTP service can listen only FTP traffic. Okay, but since the IP address is same, we cannot like assign them. So IP address will be same and then colon, and then each service will be assigned different port so that the overall IP plus port could be the unique combination for that particular service. Okay, otherwise your own machine will be confused that okay, whenever any message comes, where to divert it if there is no assigned port to it. Okay, so we need to send this. Client will connect to the SSH port number 22. If I just remove this thing, it will give an error saying that okay, nobody is listening there. So we need to provide port 22. So when 22 is SSH port, we can change it, but then on the server side you need to also make a change in the configuration of SSH to listen on the new port. So if you want to change this to listen on port number 24 or let's say 2222, this is also a port because maximally we can go from 1 to 65,000. So this is the total number of port we can go up to. Okay, so till 1024 all the ports are reserved for different services. From 1025 onwards we can start assigning some new services port. If you want to make your own service, if you want to reconfigure all these services to different port, you should start with 1025 and go up to whatever number you want. Okay, so if you want this particular service, SSH service, to run on 1025, then 1025 you need to first configure on your server side on the SSH configuration. Okay, so let it be default. By default it will run on 22. How do you? So let me first connect to it, then I need to provide the user ID, and password. So SSH service will be a daemon that will by default get started when your server comes up or whenever you start your machine, right? So let me just change the setting, make it more readable. So I can create as many sessions as I want, but I can put a check on it that nobody should use more than allowed. I mean that is like admin activity. Okay, now if you do ifconfig now here, since this particular client has connected to your server, now you can run whatever command you want out of Linux. Okay, so clear is just to clear the screen. Then if you want to check how many services are currently running basically. So there is something called PS that is so you can, for any command you can just do man ps or man, that is manual, and the name of that command. Basically it will tell you what that command does basically, and what are all the options that you can take for that command in order to get more information from that. Report the snapshot of the current processes. So just like when you do right click on your windows and do start task manager and then go to processes, so this is like kind of processes that are currently running. So same thing we can do using this PS, and there are multiple options that you can take. So basically it would be to see every process on the system using standard syntax. So you can just do PSEF or PSEF this time. To see every process on the system using BSD syntax, so you need to do that. Okay, so all these things, basically you can also have your user defined. So these are all the column lists, process ID and then class. There are multiple things that you can, so depending on whatever is requirement, mostly what we do is ps minus aux. So this is the option. So either you can write this a hyphen u hyphen x, that it means that you are taking three different options to run this command, but we can also combine ps minus aux. So this is all the processes that you will see. You go to top, basically you will understand that this is a user, this is process ID, this is the percentage of CPU that this process is working, is taking, this is a percentage of memory, that is our total available memory, out of which that how much percentage is assigned to this particular process ID. Okay, so your process ID, there are multiple process ID running. Okay, and each one, and it is telling you that what actually it is doing. So this is the current command that it is working on, and then there is state, then what is the start time, currently what time it is. Okay, so so this is currently these are all running processes that those are there. So if you really want to check that, suppose if sshd, because the thing is there are a lot of processes appearing like this, and you just need to check the name of any process that are running or not. So if you really need to check that, so you need to write first this, and then whatever the output of this command, right? So we have seen that this is the output of the command. We are actually giving it to, so just this is called pipe. Okay, this is called pipe, and we are actually giving the output of this previous command into the next command. Okay, just like one program generates one output, and that output as input can be given to the other program. Okay, so here these are like kind of chaining of commands in Linux, where one command output is given to the input of the other command. Okay, so I'm saying grep. So grep is the command through which you can, just like kind of a find string PDM. Okay, so suppose if you really want to search something in that particular output, so we know that this is a lot of text, these are all text, right? So in this text we need to find some words that is now actually, if we check whether it is related to sshd, I mean this is the string of words that we need to find in the output of this thing. Okay, so this is how actually you can pipe. Now you can pipe multiple levels, there is no limit. Okay, so this is just like kind of a filtering of result from one command to the other command, right? So grep is just like kind of find a string PDM. So this find a string PDM is running on the output of this command. Okay, if you do sshd, basically you will find these many lines in that thing. So you are now you have filtered out, right? And you have come up with like more accurate result that you want. So it tells you that currently this user bin sshd and this sshd is running. You can also find its process ID, and the process ID is this one, 861 this 3306. Okay, so and 3329 or something like, right? So this is process ID. Now we know basically it does not tell more about like on which port this SSHD is running, right? So currently we connected it to port number 22. So how to find all the ports that those are currently open on your system and they are listening on search for certain services. For that there is one more command called net state. Okay, so if you do man net state, so net state tells you print network connection, routing tables, interface statistics. So these are all related to network statistics. Okay, network means it comes everything related to network, like multiple services, multiple ports, right, which IP addresses, Okay, what are all the services those are running or using any server ports. And then for each of then you will get more options to take from. So if you do route, display the kernel routing tables, okay, display multicast. So there are multiple things, okay. So slowly you will also know, okay. But with the practice, with more things, you will come up with some solid understanding about this. Okay, most of the times you need not to learn, or you need not to remember all these things. Okay, if you really require, you can easily go and check what are all the other options available. You just need to remember just for your quick use. Okay, so you just need to make your own document of all the Linux commands that are frequently used. Mostly I have shared few of the documents related to that. Okay, now I'm trying to exhibit the same. So these are all the options. Okay, just like for any CL command, what we do is we write a command, and if we don't know the option, we just press F4 and then fill up all the information that is something optional, something required kind of thing. Okay, and you should be agree that we don't know all the options for all the command, right? So we mostly need to see, but we know that after working on for some time, basically we'll get an idea, right? So net state, and if I do -nltp, will tell you all the currently listening TCP ports, or like all the ports currently that is running and listening. So if you see, this is local address 0.0.0 or 127.0.0.1. Like if you check your hosts file, how you will check? vi/etc, or you can just do cat on it. Cat means just display the content of that file on the screen, and if you do vi, basically you can go into the editor and then try to edit the content of the file. We have seen that how to edit the content of any file. So if I say cat/etc host, this host file will have the IP address to the machine name mapping. So it is a kind of a DNS domain, or you can say DNS server for us only. Okay, so if you see, there is one address. So every machine, no matter how many machines you can create, all the machine will have their its own local address, that is 127.0.0.0.1. or if it tells that 0.0.0, so this and this actually are pointing to the same thing. So basically, to one machine we do have multiple pointers. Okay, so one IP address is this, one IP address is this, and two more IP addresses that are actually pointing to the same machine. If you do ifconfig, so basically this is also pointing to this machine, this is also pointing to the same machine, and this is also pointing to the same machine. Okay, so it is just like kind of multiple connections connected to the same machine, you can say. So there are multiple routes through which you can reach to the machine, right? So if you just try to ping this, you will be able to ping. This is again on the same machine. I mean, because we have at the end point of this connection, we can all ping to this IP addresses. So this could be ping. So this is actually getting pinged, right? If you try to use this to ping, you can ping that, right? And if you try to ping this 127.0, that is a local address. So if you do not keep anything else, by default your machine address would be 127.0.0.1. Okay, if you do ping, it is actually getting pinged, right? Now if you try to ping same IP address on Windows, so Windows will ping its own local address, right? So it is actually pinging to its local node. It is not pinging to the green screen, or it is not pinging to the Linux server. Okay, and if you ping 192.168.168.56.131, it means this is the host to guest connection. I mean host, since we do have one host only adapter, that is ETH0 on our Linux machine, whose IP address is this. It means that Windows can ping it. Okay, but if you want the other IP address, that is the NAT IP address, that is completely private to this thing. Okay, this is a private IP address, you can say, to the Linux. So this is not visible from Windows, and it says that pinging cannot help because the host does not found. Okay, so this is so net state will tell you that what are current services that are running and started, right? Now there are some firewalls. Okay, when you talk about firewalls, basically Firewalls are just like if you go on Windows and you can on or off firewall, and if you making it on, then you can allow some traffic to come in or block some traffic that should not come in or should not go out. Okay, mostly we require firewalls on our system just to avoid or prevent any intrusion, right? Intrusion means no other public or no other guy can directly come into our machine and try to do some malicious things. So Linux also does have some firewalls, and the firewalls names are IP tables and IP6 tables. IP6 tables. Okay, this is the name of firewall that will handle all the Internet Protocol version 4 requests, and this is the firewall that will handle all the Internet Protocol version 6 requests. Both of them mostly is made of, both of them are made of basically in production systems. When you actually install production cluster, and let's say if you are having 100 nodes, it means that 100 individual Linux machines, on all those 100 individual Linux machines you need to make them off. Why? Because you will have your firewall or some more kind of security to be very front end of your cluster. Okay, so the problem is if you make it on, by default they will stop all the traffic of internet. Okay, so you need to manually go and allow each of the traffic to tunnel through this firewall, otherwise nothing will work. Okay, so most of the times if you forget to off your firewall, most of your Hadoop services may not work, because they're all completely dependent on network. Why? Because you can easily assume that it is not a single machine we are running everything in, right? It would be a group of machine, and when you talk about a group of machine and connected to the internet or connected through the network or over the network, basically they require a lot of network traffic to connect to each other. Okay, just like ping, or just like to send a heartbeat signal from data node to namenet, or sending heartbeat signal from task tracker to job tracker, all that require network. And if you make IP tables and IP6 tables on for all the times mostly, then you may need to create a lot of rule. Okay, and then if you actually frequently adding and removing the data nodes from your cluster, basically it's a lot of pain for administrators. So mostly by default we will just make them off. Okay, and have one common security that will run on the top of this overall architecture separately. Okay, so because when you talk about Hadoop cluster, it should be completely internal to your company network, or it should be, even if it is running on the cloud, you need to make that overall architecture to the part of your VPN that is running in your company. Okay, so your company's VPN already running some kind of firewall or some kind of other things. So there you can have only single firewall, single security settings for your entire cluster. So these are IP table. Now if you really want to check any status of service, so you need to do sudo service, and let's say I want to check my sshd daemon whether it is running or not. So if you don't press any option and just do sudo service and the service name basically that you want, and if you press enter, basically it is actually going to point. This init.d is a directory where all the services that whenever you install its daemon, to which suppose, because the thing is like whenever you install any service or whenever you install any software, it comes with some kind of running part of it. Okay, so when you talk about Windows and go to start task manager and say processes, each one of these are running services. Basically, if all of this application might run their internal processes somewhere in your machine. So just like VirtualBox is running virtualbox.exe, because now it is actually talking to internet, then you do have chrome.exe. So chrome.exe is my Google Chrome, right? So that is running and listening some port from the internet, and it is actually accessing the internet out of it. So whenever you install any service that is having some part of it running, either it could have just simple configuration or everything is currently done. So basically if you go to this directory called etc/init.d, this is system directory. So if I do cd/etc init.d, so init means D means daemons or directories, you can say both are the same thing. If I do ll, there are a lot of services. Okay, and if you see, most of them are ending with D, just like winbindD or SSSD or SSHD, SmartD, AuthorityD, Sandbox or something else. So this is D, this is D, this is, so these are D means daemons. Daemons means services, and using this particular word you can either start, restart, stop, status. There are a lot of options that you can take on it. Okay, and that's how actually you can do that. So either you can do like etc init.d and then this and just press enter. Okay, so basically we are trying to do something on this SSD. So it will give you suggestion. Either you should take start on it or stop or restart, reload, force reload, something. So I need to check status of whether it is running or not. Okay, this particular service is running or not. So it says that this is currently running, and it says open SSH daemon. Okay, its PID, that is process ID, is 1869 is running. Okay, now in the last command when we try to grep AUX, and I said grep sshd, right? SSHD. So this 1869 is this process that is currently running user bin SSHD, and it is actually telling you that this open SSH heading 1869 is running. Okay, you can kill it, you can restart it, you can change the configuration and reload it. Okay, every of this service should have its own configuration file where you can go and change the configuration, and then it will start behaving accordingly. So every configuration you will mostly find in etc conf directory, or not conf, and then ssh. So there is one file called sshd config. Will this also work? PSF grep our ss percentage. Let me try. I'm not sure. So you say that ps minus aux and grep, what did you say? Percentage ss percentage. So actually no, see, basically it is just try to find this word. Okay, it does not actually, you cannot, what I'm trying to say, basically whatever you specify after grep, it will be considered as the word that is getting searched on the output of. So this would be kind of document ps minus ax, whatever the output of is considered just like that. It would be a notepad document where you just try control find and now try to search this ss percentage as a text. Okay, so if you try to refer this ss percentage to something else apart from text, then no, it is not working like that. Okay, so it did not find anything. It did just find, because this ss percentage we have tried to search, and it does actually so this is not something that it is found on ps minus aux, output of ps minus aux. Grep is just like kind of find string pdm. When you try to find something on the strsu, what you will do is option 25 you will take and then provide the word, so that will be searched into the source file of any code or source file of your physical file or anything. Are you getting me? So that is called find string pdm. So this is just that kind of thing. It will just try to search this ss percentage as a whole word in the output of your ps minus aux. Again, this a comma hyphen a hyphen u hyphen x or hyphen aux, they both work as the same way. You can again go and check that what is the special meaning of hyphen a on ps and hyphen u on ps and hyphen x on pos. Okay, so it will tell you more logical way of thinking. And okay, so basically if you don't know command, just google it out, and then if you know the command, then try to manual on it and then try to acquaint more on it, that okay, how the things can be done. Okay, mostly the more linux commands and their uses the more comfortable you will be doing any activity on linux. Okay, so ps minus aux, and then okay, so what I'm trying to show you is basically, so sshd is very simple daemon that is running somewhere. So there should be some configuration related to this sshd daemon, right? So where it is stored, it should go and see etc. So etc is the directory where all the configuration will go. Okay, so either it would be on conf directory. So currently there is no conf directory find because I don't get anything after pressing tab. So I will say etc now ssh. Okay, so ssh and then sshd. So I'm trying to just, if you don't just tap 2 times and it will give all the available options starting from that ssh. So basically I could see that there is some thing called sshd config. So it should be a file. If it's not directory, if its cd is not working, it means it is a file. So I can go over in that and try to check. So by default it says that port 22 that is listening on. Okay, and there, this is the SSD server system wide configuration file. See this thing, this SSD was compiled on this, the strategy used for option, and then there are multiple things. Most of the lines are commented. Okay, it means that they are getting, that is all default. Okay, if you really want to change something, just like for an example, basically this port number 22 that is currently by default port, if I really want to change, I need to uncomment this. All this hash is comment. Okay, all this hash means comment. These are all commented lines. So I need to just do this and run. Let me just try to change this to, let's say, port number, I will say 1025. Okay, I changed it. Now I will save it. Once I save, I need to restart my sshd daemon, right? Sudo service sshd restart. It is restarted. Right now I need to do net state -nltp and just do that. So this is my SSHD. Currently it is listening on port number 1025. Now let me try to connect, because since this is already connected, I really need to connect to this port number 22. Now I change this to 1025. If I open it, let me check. So it says network connection refused. Why? Because there is no one who is now listening to port number 22. So now this is just to give some kind of let me stop the recording and start the new one.